All right, good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our weekly Learn in Your Lunchtime webinar. It's a great privilege to have Mike Lanesman here today, and we're going to be talking all things to do with Adobe. But before we get there, just a reminder that we have the Student Success Coach community Facebook group. We have the YouTube channel where you are now. I'll pop a couple of links into the chat so that you can access all of those resources. And from the Student Success Coach community, we do go live every week at 12 o'clock. And just by way of introduction, I teach students on all aspects related to academic performance, doing research proposals, academic writing, etc. So all of those resources and others we'll make available to you. And I think many of you that have been part of that group, we've shared the details of the Adobe group that we've set up and the courses that we'll be creating. And so you may be joining us because of your interest in those topics. So I think let's dive straight in, and hopefully you've got lots of questions about boosting your skills with Adobe, which is of course the world's standard when it comes to creative digital editing and software editing work, I suppose. But Mike's the expert. That's why we've got him here to talk about it. But Mike, before we dive into what we're going to be rolling out and how we're going to be helping students boost their Adobe skills, maybe you just want to give us a bit of an introduction to yourself and your background and what you've been teaching for the last 20 more years. Mike.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, everybody. I can't see a list of who's in the chat, but so nice to be here, Peter. It's just great, and welcome everybody, and thanks for giving up your time. So my background is in photography. When I finished at school, I went and I studied photography at college. I did the 3 years art school diploma. And then I worked as a photographer in the medical field, supporting pathologists at academic hospitals. And they would go overseas and locally and provide talks on medicine and on their findings. They were pathologists and they needed slides. So when I studied photography, it was with film, and that was a fantastic background to leading up to where we are today. But I saw how things were going, and I saw that slide film was really on its way out. I remember the days when the pathologists would fly to London, and they'd get to London and they would look at their slides and they'd all have condensation of them from the change of temperature in the aeroplane. Now they can take it on a flash drive, and it's so much more convenient. So I started using a program, this must have been in the late 80s, called Harvard Graphics, which was the predecessor to PowerPoint. I did microscope photography and all that good stuff in the clinical photography. How I've moved on in my career is I worked at the Standard Bank Group as a multimedia designer, doing animations and designing invitations for them in the marketing group. And yeah, now what I do is my key focus is actually teaching. So I lecture at a few colleges. And then I also do photography. So that's how I spend my days. Like, I've just come back from a shoot this morning and they already wanted the pictures out. So, I sit here and I just Photoshop. It's the Adobe Pro. I used to think Photoshop was the passion. This is the program. And they always say, don't let a program define you as a human being. It used to, and I think it still does. But then when I started teaching Illustrator, I thought, well, Illustrator was the program. Then I started teaching After Effects. So I teach all of not the web-based programs, but the print-based programs, Photoshop, InDesign, and the video. Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, Acrobat, Premiere Pro, just those wonderfully exciting programs. I'm not great on the web. I'm not good on that. But the print stuff, and I helped the client last night after hours. They're putting children's books together. I've also been involved in lecturing as guest lectures at Adobe South Africa. I have a colleague who very kindly asked me to, when she was still involved with Adobe, to go and give some guest lectures, which was great. I lectured at a photo expo, which is a local photographic show that they have every year. So on Adobe, well, I have the programs, and Apple supplied me with an iPad, and I was showing the crowds who came to the Apple stand how Apple integrates with Adobe. So it's my life. I just love this. This is what I spend doing, either editing or recording. For those of you that might know me, who's on the chat at the moment, I tried to embark on a marketing campaign. More than marketing, it was to try and impart my passion, to try and pay back to community. I have had wonderful mentors. When I was writing the Adobe exams, I had wonderful Adobe mentors who just shared so freely with me. And sometimes, I've been referred to like as the old house doctor, where I just want to share. And sometimes it's not even all about the money. Of course, we're trying to all earn a living, but it's about giving back to the community, some less privileged, either in background or just in knowledge. It is such a wonderful world that will open up to you, whether you're using Photoshop. Well, you also will get called upon, like the family doctor or the family lawyer. Can you do the family function, please, for photographs? But you'll get called upon. Photoshop, for example, if we start out, can be used to improve your holiday snaps. And I'm not trying to start a whole lecture here, but I'm just trying to say, you think your pictures look fine, but your camera cannot capture the images with as much integrity as your eye sees it, because that's why you'll never have a fully automated camera, because you're always going to have someone who edits it afterwards. People will say to me often, "Oh, I'm a purist. I don't need Photoshop. It's cheating." The story is, and we can spread this out to many branches. When you took your roll of film to CNA or to your pharmacy or to Kodak, with the printing machines did those corrections for you anyway. So you might not have been a great photographer, but Kodak machines made you a great photographer. We need these programs in our lives. Lightroom, Photoshop are our darkrooms. We just do it in the light. So you might be called upon to edit your own. You might want to edit your own holiday snaps. You might be called upon to retouch pictures for clients. You may want to set up I've got all these ideas, but I'm still like the artist, set up at a flea market, set up to retouch people's pictures, removing unwanted artifacts, and just getting enjoyment. Like, I found great comfort as using my Adobe skills in lockdown as a hobby, because it's not just a job, it's a passion. So whether it was video editing, putting animations together, editing photographs, finding out new Photoshop techniques, I'm always learning and I'm always wanting to share it.